Hi my dear friends, and welcome back to another video. If you think back to last week, I said that episode 6 was my favourite episode of the season so far, but today, that's been superseded by episode 7, Announcement. I don't even know where to begin with this one. It was 52 minutes of fun, tension and build-up that wasted no time at all. Benjamin Caron's directing blew me away, and so to know he also directed episodes 11 and 12, the two-part finale, gets me really excited too. Going into this episode, we knew it was going to be a standalone, and I've got to say, it was very much needed, and did so much to set up the second half of this season in style. As a lot of us expected, the pace has really picked up significantly, and we're made aware of just how high the stakes are for our various protagonists. More than anything though, this episode felt the most Star Warsy of the entire season so far. There were so many Easter eggs, connections, and references. Palpatine was name dropped over and over again. There was another mention of Amedda, the Grand Vizier. We saw KX units that cleverly forecast Andor later meeting K2SO. We saw Yularen, who is a fan favourite from the Clone Wars and Rebels. Ord Mantell is mentioned, and in Luthen's gallery we see Plo Koon's mask, as well as a Jedi Temple guard's helmet. It may have even been the one that the Grand Inquisitor wore, who knows? But the point is, this episode made a lot of connections to the wider Star Wars universe, and for once, the threat of the Empire actually felt real. Because every time it came up, Palpatine was named. The robbery and attack on the garrison on Aldhani has shaken the galaxy. Word has spread, and Yularen even spoke to Emperor Palpatine himself about it. And so as a result, the Empire is now cracking down on pockets of rebels, and tightening sanctions on any sector harbouring partisans. And they're even ordered to reevaluate prison sentences for every crime, something which later in the episode would directly affect Andor, but we'll come on to that in a moment. Seeing the Empire like this ramping up consequences is really invigorating to see, because in real time in this episode, we see the transition from a lax Empire, who are as Andor described proud of themselves, fat and satisfied, to a regime that takes action on any minor insurgents. Now going forward, I know we're almost certainly going to see Amedda in the Senate, but I wonder if the Emperor is going to appear as well. They kind of tease he's going to show up in the Imperial Senate, and I just hope he's going to appear on screen. So moving on, at the ISB, Dedra Meero is being taken much more seriously, although she's warned to watch her back. After another funny scene at the Khan household on Coruscant concerning first impressions and how to dress to impress on your first day at work, Cyril starts at the Bureau of Standards, but we still don't meet Uncle Harlow. Maybe that's to come, but this is just the beginning of something bigger for him. He is still obsessed with capturing Andor, and I'm curious to see how his path crosses with Dedra in that mission at some point. The actors Kyle Solar and Denise Gough have been teasing that for months, but one character I really want to speak about is Luthen. Mon Mothma, who is secretly a rebel but trying to put on an unsuspecting face for Imperial surroundings, did not realise that Luthen's partisans were responsible for the attack on Aldhani. So when she finds out, she is mortified because she doesn't believe in militarization, something that she would later feud with Saw Gerrera about. The argument between Luthen and Mon Mothma reminded me of the tension she would have with Saw later in Star Wars Rebels, and one thing it did make me wonder about is if Luthen is secretly just as militaristic as Saw Gerrera. One thing is very clear, this was the first episode we were explicitly made to feel as though we can't trust him. He sends Claire to speak with Vel, and she kind of implies that Luthen wants Andor dead for being out there somewhere with knowledge of what Luthen is up to. Despite his apparent humanity in the last couple of episodes, it kind of feels as though he expected Cassian to die on Aldhani. I think when Vel and others catch up to Andor, they'll give him an ultimatum, stay as a mercenary or die, but I don't think Vel is like that. I think she saw more in him. There is a lot of complexity to this situation. Now we'll come back to Cassian in a moment, but let's first talk a little bit more about Mon Mothma. Back at her apartment, she confides in a childhood friend from Chandrila. We learn just how much the Empire is cracking down on her day-to-day activities, and she alludes to what she's been up to behind the scenes. For her life at this stage, it feels like the pot is boiling and close to tipping point. I really loved the tensity and the dialogue in this scene. Genevieve O'Reilly is so talented, I believe every word she says. And another thing I love in the dinner scene was that some of the background aliens were taken directly from Canto Bight in The Last Jedi, wealthy elites who are mostly in weapons manufacturing. So going back to Andor, he returns to Ferrix, a rich man with his cut, and he appeals to his adoptive mother Marva, who tells him the whole planet has been taken over by the Empire. So when Andor suggests that they can move to anywhere they want in the galaxy and escape, she reveals that she wants to join the rebel cause. She's not going anywhere. She views the Empire as the same regime as the Republic that hung her husband, and now she's willing to stay and fight. And the biggest irony of all is that she was inspired by the attack on Aldhani, and when she says this, there is a look of pride on Andor's face, although he doesn't want to tell his mother that he was part of it. Amazing acting here by Diego Luna and of course Fiona Shaw. And it was really great to see Bix again, although all of Ferrix resents Andor and sees him as the main reason for the attack by the Primals. A huge standout moment in the scenes with Marva and Andor is that she tells her son to stop looking for his sister. That one line was such great writing because it brings back a subplot that's not been addressed since episode 3, and I'm really starting to think we are going to see her eventually. So because no one's willing to go with him, Andor pisses off to the Miami of the galaxy, a planet called Neamos. He gives himself another fake name, has a girlfriend or hookup, and gets in trouble with the law. But this time it's because he's falsely accused by a shore trooper and gets sent to jail for 6 years. As I said, the Empire is currently tightening the law and changing prison sentences. As the judge tells him, the original sentence was 6 months, but now it's 6 years. That is crazy harsh. Obviously, let's be real, we know the timeline. He's going to break out of prison, and according to MakingStarWars.net, the next 2 or 3 episodes are going to be the prison scenes. It's the prison where all of the workers are barefoot, and they have to make parts for Project Stardust, the Death Star, so this is going to be really huge. It's going to have even bigger connections to Star Wars Rebels, Rogue One, and other projects, especially the book Catalyst, and I also think it's in prison he's going to learn the meaning of the word rebellion. Marva told him in this episode he doesn't understand, but I really think deep down he does. And another big question about the upcoming episodes is who is he going to meet in prison, and how is he going to escape? We know he does, but how? And is what Cyril is doing at his new job in any way related to finding Cassian? So many questions, and I'm so excited for this last half of the season. So I'm going to give this episode a solid 9.5 out of 10. It was brilliant, exciting, felt really reminiscent of the prequels with just how much Coruscant we got, and as I say, I commend Stephen Schiff for awesome writing and Benjamin Caron for the directing. It was another humanizing episode. They really didn't shy away from the brutal side of the clones and the Republic that we rarely get to see on screen, so really great stuff. But what did you guys think? Share your thoughts in the comments down below and your rating for this episode. Next week, of course, we have episode 8, but we've also got Tales of the Jedi, so we'll have lots to talk about. If you want the latest Tales news, then check out the last 2 videos that I posted. I talk about it extensively. If you enjoyed this video, my dear friends, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. May the Force be with you always.